to the family. Okay. I want to just move on from that because I'm feeling myself get choked up because I just watching the grandmother's face today, it really messed me up. She was crying in my office. It's just, that's a life
touching.
gone. Yeah,
it is. Yep.
And today our show is about judging a book by its cover, or shall I say, not judging a book by its cover. Everyone does it. We're all guilty of it, judging a book by its cover, thinking we know what the book is about before we even crack the pages of the book. So you do that even with books. Marketing people do that with books. They make the books pretty. They give you something to look at to entice you to open the book, right? Absolutely. To make it appealing. So we do that automatically. In that aspect, we're taught to do that. But with people, how do you feel about people judging a book by its cover or judging someone by the outer layer?
It's not always right. I think when we do that, we sometimes judge people incorrectly. I've been judged many times in my life. So, but people use it sometimes as a defense mechanism as well. See, some people use it as survival.
What do you mean?
So, to judge someone, let's say I met a guy and I'm looking at him and he might not be the right thing, or he looks crazy. That's the survival mode, I think. I don't want to get involved in that relationship because it could wind up being a bad one. And that guy could have been a good guy. Yeah. We just don't know.
I think as women, we do that all the time.
That's a survival tactic.
We sum them up in a minute. Like, no. And men do it to us too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So
but I think men go more for looks. Yeah. Than, and then they wait to see what we say.
See if we have any substance.
Exactly.
But what do you think when women first look at a man, what do you think that they're judging right off the bat?
Oh, looks, absolutely.
Okay. So
but they can be the biggest idiots.
If he's fine or not.
Yeah, exactly.
And then fine is different for everybody. Like some people think short, tall, chubby, skinny,
dark, light.
Exactly. So, and we all do it. So people, like I said, everyone is guilty of judging a book by its cover. And you said it's happened to you. Does it happen to you by your personality or just by them just laying their eyes on you?
Them just laying their eyes on me.
Both women and men?
I mostly
because women judge other women.
That is true. Women than men, but I had an instance where I worked for a mortgage company some years back, and people would just look at me, especially one little girl, one girl. And, after we were on the same team, and after she got to know me, she was like, oh my gosh, you are the coolest person ever.
Yes, you are.
Why didn't I talk to you before? She was like, I judged you. I hated you. I thought you were all this and that. I'm like, no.
But that's so funny that you say that. I've had that too. People are like, you cool as I don't know what. I used to get it a lot. Back in the day, I think people look at certain people and automatically think, oh, they're stuck up, they're conceited, or they're this, or they're that. Is that what she got?
Oh,
from
yes,
you?
absolutely.
So she thought, and you're so far from that.
Not that even.
Right.
Yep.
But people think that. What do you think that they're judging when they look at you? What do you think that they see? Like, what do you think it is that makes them think that?
They think I'm conceited, just uppity a bit. I think that's what most women see.
But just by the way you look. But what do you think it is?
I don't know. Maybe I walk funny. I walk like my nose is in the air.
I
don't know.
Conceited or walk.
Maybe so.
Right.
That could very well be, but it could be it. It's just my persona, I guess. Yeah. Maybe that's what they think when I give off.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, oh, you're so high maintenance, you're this, you're that. No, I'm really not. I'm a simple girl.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about how simple you are in a little bit. Because we're going to talk about it a little later, but when you look at her, what we're going to talk about later, you're going to be like, that's not true. That's not true. Like, I can't picture this lady doing that. Because it's a totally different you.
It is.
It's totally different.
I have many sides.
as we all do with being women. All right, so stereotypes, misconceptions, assumptions that a lot of us have are based on race, based on gender. Have you experienced anything based on race, being a Black woman? Have you had
yes. My previous supervisor before the one that I have now, she didn't know much about me. We had several conversations. I think she met me one time and she called me on the phone. She actually lived in a whole nother state. And she was just telling me all these things, terrible things about me that she heard, that people said, and it was all just total lies. So at that point, I don't know what this woman had against me, but she was actually trying to get me fired.
Based on
race, I guess.
You think it was race? You know, for sure it was that. What makes you think that?
Like, I was the only Black person.
Oh. So is that what you got? I mean, when I think about that and think about the stereotypes and misjudgments on race or mistreatment because of what you look like on the outside, I think a lot of Black people have experienced that.
Oh, absolutely.
And even
it's an everyday thing.
And you think so? So they, when you think of someone of the race other than, you know, a Black male or female, and they're looking at a Black person, let's say we'll start with women first, Black women first. What do you think they see? Like, what do you think it is that they see? And of course, when I say they, it's very broad. We know every Black person is not this way. Every white person is not this way. Everyone doesn't feel the same thing. But when someone judges you based on what you look like, not as far as the makeup, the hair, and all that, but just the skin, what do you think that they're looking at?
I think, in all honesty, I think when most white people look at Black folks or Black women, I don't think they give us our due. I think that a lot of Caucasians might think that we are not as intelligent as we are. We don't articulate well. We are not capable of articulating. We're not able to learn. We don't catch on, things like that. As far as Black women on Black women, I think we just judge because we're all different stereotypes. We stereotype each other because we're all at different levels. Yeah. And I think when someone is not at a certain level and they think that someone is above them, then that's where that opinion comes in or that judgment comes in.
Yeah. And then when I think about like some of the memes online and some of the videos, there are a lot of things like a misconception about a Black woman, but just by being a Black woman, the judgment, that we don't do a lot of things.
Correct.
And one of them is Black women don't swim. Have you ever heard that one?
I'm guilty.
You see, you don't swim.
I mean, I would like to swim, and I'm not afraid of water.
Okay. Because you got one side of the Black woman that's saying that's true. Yep, that's true.
That is true.
So,
I think older generations maybe, but like my mother doesn't swim. But we'll get in the water. We'll go as deep up to our necks, but that's it.
So what's about the hair?
No, I just had a phobia of deep water. So I just had a really bad experience trying to learn how to swim.
So it's based on you and not a Black woman.
No,
right? It's not because of I don't want to get my hair wet or Black.
Oh no, I don't mind getting my hair wet.
A phobia.
Yeah,
right. So I guess that's slightly different.
Yeah, but there are some Black folks now. Come on, you get your hair done.
It's a problem.
Correct.
I remember I was talking to my mom about this, and she was like, "Well, I swam all my life, and I was on a swim team, and blah blah blah." And there's a lot of Black people. You go to different schools, you go Black women. A lot of Black women swim. But people think that. I've even had a white man say, "Oh, well, I heard Black women don't swim." I'm like, that's so broad. Some don't, because if you just spend X amount of money on your hair,
you're not going to get
in the water. Or like you said, you'll go from the neck down.
Correct.
So are there any other, like when I think about, and then of course, all of the misconception and judging a book by its cover and judging, let's just say, even going back to the old movie, White Men Can't Jump. Like if you're a white guy,
you can't play basketball.
You can't play basketball. Or
that truly has changed maybe back in the day.
Right.
But when you look at I watch sometimes college basketball, a lot of them are white. They play just like a black guy would play.
So, but what do you think that comes from? Like when people saying, "Oh yeah, if you're white, you can't do this." Do you think that because of certain sports and the black man?
Yeah, I think because in basketball, it was dominated by black people. You know, we came out with the moves and the what is it, the pick and the finger roll, right, and all that kind of stuff.
We were nice with it.
Correct. We put it down
right,
like that.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So I think by sports being dominated by black people, that's where
especially football and basketball.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
And just like how many black quarterbacks do you see? Now, it used to be it wasn't none.
Right.
But now we have several.
Right.
So I think things are changing and evolving so we can dispel that judgment or from the past,
right,
that, you know, that's kind of going away.
Right.
We hope.
Right. We like to think.
Exactly.
Okay. So you have this exterior, right?
I do.
She got her face is beat. For those of you who can't see, her nails are dead. She smells good. She always, and I'm saying this for a reason. And when people look at her, they think of her as stuck up or bougie or high maintenance. But to me, when I look at you and know what you do, and I'm going to say that, they're like, what does she do? What does she have? But so tell me about, I'm trying to think how I want to transition into this. So tell me what someone would be surprised about you. If they heard that you did this or you have this, what would they be what would surprise them about it?
I am a horse owner.
Okay.
In my family, we're a family of 4 horses. Nobody believes it. I think they just believe that black people don't own horses.
And that's what people think. And that's what and it's so funny, but I saw you, I was a black person riding a horse, right? And saw you, and it was a totally different Antoinette. It was a totally different you.
Yes, it was.
And you don't mind getting down and dirty.
No.
So what is it like owning a horse?
It's very hard work. It's very time consuming. I'm still learning. It's hard. It's really, really hard. And you will get dirty because they are dirty animals. Yeah. They roll all the time in mud, dirt, whatever.
And so where did your love for horses begin?
It started, this is a funny story. My mother had a babysitter. And this babysitter would take me to Pimlico racetrack all the time. She would bet on the horses. So I'm an infant or toddler at Pimlico racetrack, and I just got interested. And so I have a cousin, she's much older than I am. And when I was about 9, between 8 or 10, I can't remember quite the age, but she sent me to a camp. And at that camp, I learned to groom, feed, tack, and I rode. And at that point, I used to jump. So it kind of dwindled away as I got, we get busy, we're growing up, we're having a life. And my mom's dream was to always own a horse. And I said, one day I'm going to buy her a horse. But what happened was I had an unfortunate incident. My dog died, and I was kind of on the depressed side. So my mom found this place to go horseback ride. She was like, let's go horseback ride. So we went, and we went a few times, started going almost every weekend. So when she found out how inexpensive it was to purchase a horse, she purchased hers first. And so I fell in love with one, and I actually purchased him, and then we just kept growing. Someone I'm very fond of, he purchased a horse too, and then we became co-horse owners. So
how many horses do you own?
We have 4.
So how do you do the upkeep yourself? How does that work? Do you have it at your house? Where do you keep your horses?
We board at a facility, but it is with hopes that we get a place of our own and we're able to move the horses on the property.
Is it expensive?
To board? It's like paying a cable bill. But it's expensive when you owe more than one. So if you pay that cable bill 4 times over each month.
4 people's cable bills,
correct.
Basically.
Exactly.
So and you feed so you do everything. So what's your day like because you work and you have to deal with the horses daily?
Every day. They have to be fed every day. So it's time consuming. It has taken away so much of my life, which I'm hoping to give back at some point. So on days that I can't feed, my mom feeds, or if it's bad weather, we don't feed. But that's why we want to get them on the property or get them to a place where it's full board where they feed for us, so we don't have to do that every day.
So you get up before you go to work typically, and you go to feed your horses. What kind of maintenance do they take care of them as far as the maintenance, or you have to bathe them? And so we
do it all.
So is that how often do you do that?
Well, you don't bathe in the winter because you don't want them to get a cold. So we typically bathe like during the spring and early fall.
So horses are real funky in the winter.
They are funky all the time. But it's so cold, you don't smell them, and they stay outside. They stay outside during the ice, the cold, the frost, all of that.
See, because I've known Antoinette now. We were just talking about that. What has it been? 7 years, maybe now? Has it been about 7 years now?
Absolutely.
And we just hit it off like right away.
Absolutely.
I was at work one day, and she, came in, and that was it.
But friends, this is my girl.
And this is mine. And it's so funny because, like I said, we just hit it off, but we lost contact for, I guess, a couple of years.
About 2 years.
Yeah, about 2 years.
Yeah.
So I went part of the outdoors club at my college. Yeah, you probably are surprised about that. It wasn't many of me in that club, I will say. She saw us, but I was like, no. You were like, what are you doing here?
I know. I was like, because she was on a horse,
right?
And I was on the ground. I'm like, she was like, Antoinette, I'm like, what are you doing here?
Right. And so we were both shocked to see each other, and I went with the outdoors club.
I think you guys actually had a bonfire in the back.
Yeah,
that day.
We sure did. Now
she really got down. Right. She had a bonfire. She was sitting in the grass.
Right. So how many of us have done that? So people, it's so funny because a lot of I go to UB, and a lot of black people, I'm like, I ain't going to that. I'm not going to that. Riding some horses. I'm not getting bonfire. And it sounds so ignorant when I say this. I don't even believe I'm getting ready to say it. But black people don't do bonfires. And that's what people were saying. I was like, well, this one is.
Let me tell you, owning a horse has changed my whole perception of outdoors, all of that. I sit around bonfires. I'm in the mud. I'm in the, because like horse manure, everybody, you know what?
And it's big too.
Oh, it's huge.
It's big.
Like you get used to stepping in it. Doesn't matter, but that's the best manure because it doesn't smell. I mean, like it breaks apart. So it's,
so the big logs kind of.
Yeah, it doesn't bother your shoes. It'll come right off. That's a big horse.
Lisa. But it's so funny because when I was there at the stable, I saw Antoinette, and then your mom was there. Yeah. So it was a whole family affair. And she was like, I own horses. And she was down and dirty.
Yes,
still cute. She still got her same
makeup.
face. No. But Antoinette you were like a horse owner for real.
Exactly.
Like she was totally different. And that was the first time I ever saw Antoinette like that. I was like, Antoinette was down and dirty. And when people look at you, I know they don't think that. They probably like, oh, she don't want to get her hands dirty.
You know what's funny? People see me like down and dirty all the time at the farm. And my mom and I, we do some catering, and we catered the wedding of the owner's daughter who owns the farm. I walked in, they didn't even know who I was.
Shut up.
No, makeup was done, hair done, clothes on.
And they were like, who?
They didn't know. I walked by them. They didn't even speak. They didn't know and I cooked the food.
But that's the reverse.
Exactly.
I mean, I knew who you were though, because I called you as soon as I saw you. But it was a different Antoinette. It was totally different. Yep. So you had a funny story about when you went to the ER. So explain what happened, and then what led you to.
I had a little incident on my horse, and human error. It wasn't his fault. He didn't do anything. So I wound up breaking my wrist and my radius bone in my arm, and I went to the ER. And when I got there, the nurse that triaged me, she was like, "What happened?" And I had grass in my hair. I was tore up. And she was like, "What happened to you?" And I was like,
"This was a black nurse."
It was a black nurse. Okay. Yes, it was a black nurse. Okay. And I said, "Well, I fell off my horse." And she was like, "What?" I said, I fell off my horse. She was like, "Wait a minute, a real horse, like with 4 legs, not like a carousel horse?" I'm like, "No, a real horse. I have a horse." She was like, she's like, "All my years of being a nurse, I've never heard that story before." And I said, "No, say it what it is. You never heard a black person say that." She was like, "Yeah, you're right." So again.
So what do you think why do you think it's shocking to people? And every time you say that, and even if you say it to a white person or someone of another ethnicity, yeah. What do you think the shock is when they find out that you own horses?
Because
not only that you ride horses, but you own them, you care for them, and you own 4, really.
Yes.
What do you think the shock is?
I think what it is, they think it's so expensive. It's the rich man's game, and that people, most normal people can't do it. And then especially when you see a black person, it's just not feasible for a black person. I think that's what it is. And then the fact that we do own them, I think it's just surprising. Most people, how many black people that before me that own horses?
I don't know, because even when we rode them and my mom, we didn't own them. So you and your mom and your friend. That's it. That's it. But then that's another stereotype. That's another when you say that black people look like they don't have enough money or they're shocked. And it's just crazy still in 2016, but people do think like that. People judge people all the time.
All the time. And will it ever get better? We hope, but the way things are going, I don't know.
That we judge, because we judge by, so what are the things that we judge by? We judge by race. We judge by gender.
Correct.
We judge by complexions, even in the black community.
All the time.
Light skin, dark skin. We judge by that. We judge somebody if they're fat.
Girl.
Real bad.
Exactly.
We judge someone if they're too skinny.
Yes.
We judge someone if they speak a different way. We judge someone if they're from another country. We judge someone because someone's hair is curly, someone's hair is straight. Like it's ridiculous when you think about it. We judge, especially even in our own communities, the black communities, we're the hardest on ourselves. We judge that book all the time. Oh, they look hood. Because that's the other side of what you said. Bougie and stuck up, conceited. Then you're judging somebody like they don't have manners, or they're from the hood, so they can't be intelligent.
Or absolutely.
People do it all the time. And there are a lot of people in the hood, from the hood, that have masters and doctorates.
And then sometimes the way they look, you would never guess.
No.
I've been surprised myself many times.
Me too. I was surprised and it's still it's a judgment. Like when somebody comes and sits in front of you, and I have people sit in front of me all the time. It's crazy because you don't think that they don't have these degrees, but it never crossed your mind that they did. You know what I'm saying? And then one girl sat in front of me. She was like, yeah, because I'm going to school for my master's. And she didn't look like, how do you look uneducated? Like, you can't look uneducated. You know what I mean? But it did shock me. There were other issues going on, and if people are watching, I can't really say, but it just totally shocks me. A lot of things, even when sexual preference, all of that, you thinking one thing, and judging based on what you see, and it could be not even the case.
Look, everything these days, you just don't know.
Do you, outside of judging a guy to see if you want to, talk to him or anything like that, like we talked about earlier, what have you been guilty of? Like, what kind of judgment or misjudgment have you been guilty
I'm still guilty of those type of things. I would see a person and I might in my mind say, oh, they look this or they look that. And I need to get out of that. We need, as a people, to stop judging folks by race or by color or by how they dress and so forth and so on. I think we really need to get beyond that and to move on, because we're stifling ourselves, I think, if we continue to have that type of attitude or that judgmental attitude.
I agree, because that's the same way we're judged if we are. It's when you see someone that looks a certain way, and Caucasian people do it all the time, and they do it to Black people, and Black people are guilty of doing the same thing, vice versa. But when a Black person they look a certain way, and they say, oh, wow, he or she is articulate. Oh, she can speak. Like, I guess you expect this person, because of the way they look, that they're gonna come out like, and you're like, what? What are you saying? But when they say that, they're shocked. Just like, and it's also too, and it's like, I want to be at a point, like you said, where it's 2016, to stop talking about race, but within our culture.
Correct.
Meaning that light skin, dark skin. And I know Lisa Ray's directorial debut. Did you see the previews for Skin?
No, I didn't.
It's going to be on TV One. You saw that? And that's that whole thing, like, about us not loving our complexion. Or if you're dark skin, you're this. If you're light skin, you're that. And I think, I know they had the special dark girls and light girls last year, and everyone was talking about their struggles that they have with their complexion and people judging, even heavy-set women, to say, oh, you're pretty for a fat girl. Like, that's a judgment. Like, so if I'm fat, or you have a pretty face, you know what I mean? And I talked to a lot of people, and they said, like, okay, you might as well not even say anything. What are you saying? My body is hideous, but my face is, and it's like a whole judgment. Like, oh, I'm surprised they're cute for a dark girl. Like, that, you ever heard that?
All the time.
And
dark
it's
people are supposed to be ugly.
Right.
I think some of the darkest people have the most beautiful skin.
Beautiful. One of my good friends, 20-something years, shout out Tramika, if you're watching, she lives in Las Vegas. When I tell you, her skin is like somebody just dipped a Hershey chocolate bar. When I tell you, flawless, beautiful, but a lot of dark-skinned women have complexes. They feel like they're not judged as beautiful. So when they're looking at that cover of that book, that skin, they're feeling like, oh, well, they're not pretty as the lighter complected girl. Like, my girlfriend, the same girl, she would always say to me, and when I think about it now, just talking about her, she's like, you the blackest light-skinned person I ever met. And she would say that like 20 years ago. And I'm like, I guess they don't expect, and it sounds so ignorant when I even say it and hear it in my head, but they don't expect a light-skinned person to be down for the cause or stick up for Black people or love your Blackness. You get what I'm saying? Like, they expect Black, dark-skinned power to the people. Oh, they love being Black. You know what I'm saying? It's so weird.
Oh, we may be light, but we can get down.
Right. And it's crazy. And even, I think about, like you said, the prejudgment. If you're light skinned, oh, she thinks she's cute. Correct. Or if your hair is long or you think, I think, and it's when I was watching that special Light Girls, and then, like I said, they had dark girls too. So they had dark girls first, and it was almost like, these are my struggles. This is my pain. So then they did the other one, like, okay, you know, and that's still almost dividing. Why not have those women on the show together talking about their different experiences? But still, even though I get what they were doing, because then the light-skinned girls came back to say, hey, they're not the only ones with struggles or problems. We've been discriminated against too.
Correct, right.
But it still divided it to have two separate ones.
I think
instead of black girls, and then
commingle them together.
Exactly. Because a lot of light-skinned girls that were on there, they were saying, oh yeah, I got that. I think she thinks she's cute. She's stuck up and she's this and she's that. And why is that? Why are we still going back to slave days thinking that the light-skinned one is better?
That is it. And I think that's exactly where that came from.
Because to me, if we're both slaves, one is outside, one is inside, but neither one of us can go anywhere. Who has it better? Because I'm cooking master's food and you out there picking cotton. We're still doing something we don't want to do. We're still enslaved.
Well, they figured the pretty ones.
I would have had to sleep with Massa. I'd rather be picking cotton.
You might just have Massa's baby.
Right. I'd rather be out. You know what I'm saying? So I think the slave mentality really divided us as Black people.
I think that's exactly
because
where it came from.
The light-skinned people they were treated better, and then the dark-skinned people weren't. And I think, but look how long ago slavery was. Like, when are we going to come together as a whole to say, okay, that was someone else trying to divide us, but yet and still Black people to this day, you have a dark-skinned child and a light-skinned child, and the light-skinned child gets preferential treatment over the dark-skinned child. And this is a mother's children. They're the mother's children.
That is true.
And they're judging when they see a dark-skinned child or kids, they'd be like, oh, that one is prettier. Because they just looked at the skin color, that whole book cover, and they didn't really look at the features. And then when you come to look at the feature, you're like, wait a minute.
It's just like one of the experiments with a Black child, and they gave it a white doll.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
right. And they chose the white doll,
and those were Black children.
Exactly.
And it's sad. Like on those specials, they had kids on there too, and it's like, how do we teach the children differently when the parents are still on that same light-skinned Black
stuck in that way?
And they even did, like, on Dateline, they did pretty, and to me that's a matter of opinion. That's in the eye of the beholder, who is pretty and who is not.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? But they did pretty and so-called ugly, and I don't call anybody ugly because God made them all. So he made them, people say unattractive, whatever it is, but that's not my place to call anyone ugly because they were still made, divinely made. I really believe that. I agree. But who gets the job? And then the light skin, dark skin, they did this on, I don't want to, like, mainstream television to see. And
who got the job?
Dark skinned women and men weren't. And the light skin were, but the dark skin were more qualified. So you're judging somebody just based on that, you know. And to me, that's crazy. So have you ever, in your mind, just really like being honest, like, have you ever done that?
I'm guilty.
Okay, and I mean, you ain't the only one. Like, what do you think you did?
I don't remember the time, but I know I've done it before. Yeah. But I am truly trying to change that way of thinking.
And that's what it is.
And we have to get to know people before we prejudge them.
Yeah.
But we don't, the downside of that is we don't have time to get to know everyone.
That's true.
So you shouldn't judge those that you just don't know.
That's true. That's true. And so many people, if in this society, the society we live in, if you are over a size 4, then you're fat. And fat people, because I would be considered fat. You would be considered fat.
Obese.
Lisa, you'd be considered fat. You know, and it's sad. And it's normal size. Like if you go to Africa, they're like, oh,
honey, they're fat.
They like it, right. But in this culture, if you're over a size 4 or 6 and you got a little extra meat everywhere, then you're not as attractive.
Well,
or you're not healthy either.
Well,
what?
You got Caucasians now trying to be like us.
Hello.
So what's healthy?
Hello.
What's attractive? because now you have the black guys now going for the white girls with
the big butts and hips and all of that.
Exactly.
And that's so true. Because the other thing, judging a book by its cover, if you look at a fat person or overweight person, they're unhealthy. But if you look at a thin person, they're healthy. That's not true. But people judge that and think, oh, they're thin, they must be healthy. Last time I checked, thin people die all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a lot of heavyweight people and overweight people in cast.
Because you have people, what is that? Bulimia and anorexia. They might be skinny, but that's very unhealthy.
And it's so and they think, like my daughter, we have this conversation all the time because my oldest daughter, Aaliyah, she's thin. She's shapely, but she's thin. And they judge her, oh, well, you don't eat. That girl loves to eat. Or they judge her. She always says, no one would ever go up to a fat person and say, oh, girl, you are fat. You need to stop eating. But they'll go up to her and say, oh, you are thin. You need to eat some more.
And they do the
like
same
it's
to
a
my
double,
daughter.
and it's a double standard. And that like upsets my daughter so much because she's like, how dare they? Because you won't go up to a heavy set person because it's not politically correct.
Correct.
But it is for
you to do that to a thin person. It is not.
Right. And it's nice. So you said Gabby does?
Oh, Gabby's very thin. She's not even a 0. So.
And what do people say?
Oh, you need to eat. You're anorexic. You're too small. And she eats.
Right.
She eats. She's just thin.
That's her build. But the people, judge that all the time. I mean, I have a story about how both of my daughters are brown. One is browner than the other. And when Amara was first born, my daughter, people would ask if that was my daughter. And I'm like, first of all, it just disturbs me the extent people will go to get in your business and ask questions and you don't even know me. So it was one lady that knew my mom and a friend, and I was about to go there. My mom was about to go there because she asked me, she was like, so that's your daughter? I mean, and she looked for a while and she was like, I mean, your daughter. I'm like, yes, that's my daughter. And then she had the nerve. Now, I don't know this lady, never seen this lady before in my life. You had her, like your biological daughter.
Goodness.
And I said, look, I was pregnant with her. I gave birth. I was in labor. I gave birth. This is my child. But first of all, when somebody says my child, even if that wasn't then that is my biological child, had her pregnant with her. Everybody knows, everybody was at the but had it not been, like, why? How do you feel like you had the nerve to ask and then say, well, she's browner than you and you're lighter than her? Now,
was this a black?
That's what I'm saying. A black lady. Black people should know we come in all shades.
My daughter is darker than me. Her father is lighter than me, and she's darker than the both of us.
See, because you can look like a great aunt, a grandmother, great grandmother.
You don't know where that comes from, but it's somewhere down the lines of your family line.
But you would think black people would know that. Wow. White people, I'll give them a pass for that because they may not know. You'll get a pass, but don't come to me, asking. So, and I remember the lady left, and then my mom came up. She was like, well, who is it? Well, where is it? She was mad because people will look at that. And now my mom is browner than I am. And she said people would ask her the same thing.
Really? That's so disrespectful.
Isn't it disrespectful? But then you're judging someone based on skin and skin color. So a light-skinned person can't have a brown baby. A brown baby can't have.
Obviously, it's a fact.
Right. It's
both
right. But it's like that's judging right there. And then I think some people just have the nerve. Like I would never in a million years be able to ask those questions to a complete stranger. You know what I mean?
Business,
right? But then I was like, and then I left it alone. But I said, yeah, about to lose my religion with her. I'm telling you, I was like, how you're shocked, like, did somebody just ask me that? So many people do judge based on even hair textures and insecurities that people have with their length of hair or hair textures or what it looks like or what they want. And I always say curly hair people want straight hair, and straight hair people want curly hair. So when you, do you get judged because you're blonde? Has anybody ever judged you?
Yeah, they think I have blonde? White in my, well, I probably do somewhere.
We all do.
But yeah, hey,
we just explained how.
Yeah, so I'm partially white. I got Indian in my face, all that kind of thing. And I think that a lot of Black women judge each other because some of these women have some insecurities. Yeah. So I think that's a big part too. Yeah.
It's so, and then like talking about my daughter again, this one I talked about both of this is my youngest daughter. Her hair's down her back. She's Black, so to me it's a Black person's hair. Like but people think she's Indian or people think she's Dominican because it's long and because it's wavy. Mm-hmm. And that's a judgment right there. So if you're Black, you can't have long hair. I had long hair before I had locks. Mm-hmm. My great-grandmother, my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother's hair was so long she used to braid it in between her legs. My. So it's like, but when you're Black, then you can't have that. So my daughter gets judged all the time.
I think it's just not the norm.
Right.
So since it's not the norm, we're judged on it. Yeah. Because it's just not us. It's not that way. We're not supposed to have it.
But it irritates my daughter because my daughter is a junior in high school. So some of the people she's been to school with the whole time. Mm-hmm. And she said people are still asking, like, other than they know me, they see me all the time, or people that don't know her, they'd be like, so what are you? And she's like, Black. Well, what are your parents? Black. Well, you gotta be mixed. She said they'll sit there and ask her like she doesn't know who she is. Like, no, you gotta be mixed. She's like, and she hates that. And she hates when people judge her and touch her hair. Like but people were just so, because Gabby has long hair too. Mm-hmm. Does she get that judgment? Girl. Oh, she did?
She did, she cut it. Yeah, she used to, but nah, she cut it. But they want to know what she is because her hair is very soft. Yeah. And it flows in the wind. Yeah. So what are you? Are you Indian?
But that to me, that stereotype is a problem.
It is.
My cousin and God rest her soul, she's not even here anymore. But my cousin used to have the biggest problem with judging, misconception, stereotype. She was very light. She had wavy hair, long hair, and she dealt with so many just issues within herself trying to fit in. So they would be like, well, are you white? Are you Spanish? Or what are you? Mm-hmm. And her hair was so long. She did so much to fit in. She tried to make it short. She tried to get the blackest styles that she could get. Her hair texture wouldn't even do it, but just to fit in because she kept tired of being judged.
And I don't think we should change ourselves because of that. Be who you are.
Yeah.
Be what you are.
Yeah.
We got to get to a point where, you know what? I don't even care. I don't care what someone says about me. I don't care what someone thinks about me. And I think that comes with age, because right now I don't care.
Me neither. And I said it plenty of times on this show. I don't care what you think, what you say about me. But so it's almost a fine line between someone's opinion and judgment, would you say?
Very fine.
Because people have an opinion, and you can have an opinion. So it's like, how do you tell where the opinion stops and the judgment stops? Because we all, I know, I mean, I have an opinion, and I'm sure I've judged, we all have, of judging a book by its cover. Mm-hmm. I know I've judged people's voices. Like, I'm like, okay, I see this little dude over here. He probably got a little mousy voice. He like, hey, what's up? You know what I mean? And you look and thinking like, okay. Or, you might see, a row of gold teeth, and you might think that you're not going to be able to understand what they're trying to say, and they get out and start speaking all these big words. You're like, what? That's coming from you, but people think that. And now with the, what's going on, and I won't say now because it's been going on, but with the cops and stereotyping Black men in what you have on or what you're wearing.
And it's unfortunate. I think bad things had to happen for things to change.
Yeah. Do you think they're changing?
I think they're changing slowly, but it's still going to take a lot of time.
Because that was the big thing with, you know, profiling and racial profiling, different things like that. If you have a hoodie on, you're a criminal. Right. It's so funny because I went into a store with one of my coworkers. We walked to the store and it was pouring down raining. And we went into the store and security told me, take your hood off. It happened to me like 2 weeks ago. I'm like,
maybe things are changing like a
because it was pouring. So I had the thing all tight. And it's crazy because I'm like, I'm me. I'm not, you know, in my head, I'm me.
Well, maybe they wanted to get you on camera.
Yeah, just in case I stole.
Exactly. That's what it was.
Right.
That's what it was.
Right. No, I know what it was.
That's what it was.
But what I'm saying is that happened to me one time. Just imagine being a young Black male. And it's like, if you want to wear a hoodie, like I said in my show last week, young men of all races wear hoodies. Young girls wear hoodies. That doesn't mean that you're a criminal, or that you're about to do something else. So I think judging a book by its, when do we learn or when do we say, okay, let's not judge this book by its cover. I know you said we got to get to know them, but we can't get to know everybody. So I think, how do you think we start?
Wow. You just can't formulate opinions right off the bat. You really cannot. I think with what's going on, and say someone had a hoodie and they told them to take it, I think young folks, Black folks, they get irritated because they're asked to do things that they know they're not wrong. They're not in the wrong. So I think that's what causes the friction between, you know, like the police and the young folks. But how do we get beyond that? I don't know. I think that's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And I think that too. And I think that when we're able to kind of put ourselves in their shoes or in that person's shoes, like, okay, how have I been prejudged? How have I been stereotyped? Before I make any opinion or perception of this person, let me get to know them. Because I know we've all been here when you first go into a workplace or you first go to a school and you're young and someone's like, okay, this person, her breath stinks. This person, she's this, or he is, he's a dog, or he's this. You go in with those preconceived ideas. So you're judging that person before you even know them. And then you find out, okay, that they're
cool.
Right. Yeah. So it's so hard to kind of, as a human being, not have your own preconceived notion of someone. You know?
But I think you hit the nail when you said we need to put ourselves in their shoes.
Yeah.
I think if we do that, then that will start to change how we have these preconceptions or we preconceive people to be.
Yeah.
So I think that when you said that's the start.
Yeah. Because I think about my mom. My mom used to always get, they thought she was stuck up, or they thought she was bougie, or they thought, and also too, and it's a thing about all Black people. You know how people say, and you'll hear it on the radio, you'll see it online, or just people in general conversation, when they be like, girl, you know, all Black people had chitlins. You know what I mean? But have you heard that? Oh no, all Black people eat soul food, or all Black people eat pig feet, or all Black people grew up in the hood, and then they, you know what I'm saying?
And that's still slave mentality.
That's still slave mentality. For the record, I've never had a chitterlink in my life. Never had a pig foot or feet in my life. You know, I'm Black. I never lived in the South. This is the furthest South I live. People always think, oh, you go down South, or you got family down South. Because if you're Black, you got family down South.
Really?
That's a judgment. Do you have family down South?
My family has come from the South.
Right. And but they think that all Black people
come from the South.
The South. Some can come from the
They do.
Some can come from the islands.
Correct.
You know, or some can come the south side of the island. You know, but there are a lot of different stereotypes. I was watching this real good documentary. So all of you guys that have Netflix, watch it. It's called Soul Food Junkies.
Okay.
And I watched that. Honey, you can't tell. And the documentary was so good. But when you hear Black people talking on that, they're like, it's for everybody. Like, this is what Black people do. This is how we act. So what I'm saying is or this is what Southern people do, because there's Caucasians on there too. Because, you know, in the South, they cook soul food. Oh, yeah. Like really well. Mm-hmm. Like they know what a ham hock is. They know what collard green, like, and it's good. So it's Black people and just Southern people. Mm-hmm. So if you were watching this documentary, the Soul Food Junkies, you would think if you were somebody from the North or you were someone that didn't eat soul food, you would feel like you weren't Black.
Really?
Because it's like, well, if you're Black, you do this. If you're from the South, you do this. Mm-hmm. And this is how it is. You know what I mean? And to me, all of that is still, so he was trying to get through the mist. The whole premise of the documentary was his father died at a young age and his father loved soul food. So he really thought like soul food pretty much killed his father, the filmmaker. Mm-hmm. So he went back to go through the history of soul food. And then he went back and they were talking about, well, this is what, you know, Black people is, this is how it is. But all Black people, they were like, all Black people did this. And there were people they were interviewing. So it's not the filmmaker actually saying this, that he's interviewing people. So that's a whole judgment. If, let's say, for instance, before they showed the Caucasian people in the Caucasian people in the South, if somebody was watching that, a Caucasian person that was from up north, they would think that's how all Black people eat every single day. You know what I mean?
We gotta dispel that. We gotta dispel that.
And the biggest one is the watermelon in the chicken. Like that's
yes. And I actually had a white person ask me, do all Black people eat watermelon and chicken? Yes. And drink grape soda.
Grape Kool-Aid. Well, personally, grape soda is good. But I know a lot of Black people, believe it or not, that don't. What you say?
That's what I drink.
It's delicious. Welch's, yeah. But this is the thing, though. I know Black people that don't like fried chicken, and they're just as Black, you know. And that sounds so ignorant. I'm even saying that, but they're just as Black as anybody else. But they think, and then I've been around other Black people that ostracize this person because they were taking away the Black card because they didn't. But you know what? White people eat watermelon all the time. And watermelon is one of the most healthiest fruits that you can eat.
Well, don't get it twisted. They like fried chicken too.
Oh, for sure. And some of them can make some good fried chicken.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But it's like, how did we get that stereotype? Do you know? I don't even know.
I don't know. I think it's a Southern thing.
But it's like I said, and even on that, they had this whole, sounds funny, but this soul food cook-off. And this one white lady won part, like her food, you know, because they cook in the South. Mm-hmm. So that's not a stereotype, is it? Is that judging? Oh, if you're from the South, I know you can throw down.
Yeah, right.
And another judgment, and I'll have people know that I want to dispel right now, is Northern women cannot cook. That is not the case. Because I can throw down.
All right,
I can cook. But people like, oh, you're from Jersey. I've heard that before. Like, oh, do you cook? Or you look like you can't cook. Oh, my food is good. And I can bake. And I can make some greens. And I ain't from the South, but I can make greens. You know what I mean?
Right.
But people think that. Have you ever heard of that? Mm-hmm. So I have. Because you're from Baltimore. Mm-hmm. So do you, like, and Northerners consider this South?
They do.
You consider it South?
This is the South.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You think it's the South?
No.
Okay. Okay, good. I'm glad because I know it.
1860, there would be slaves.
Right.
Definitely the South.
So, and it's also, and like, it's funny because my mom, My mom is from upstate New York. I was born in Buffalo, New York. That's upstate New York.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was born and raised there. My mom and my mom is in her 60s. She had white friends. She had black. She had friends of all nationalities. My mom didn't experience racism when she was little, but people don't believe that. They're like, you had to, if you're black and you were raised in the 50s, then you did. But I think because she wasn't in a southern state,
that played a major
but
role.
people don't believe it. That's still, so you hear people on the news that say, well, all black people, we all came from the hood, and my mom didn't even come from the hood. So she's a whole walking contradiction. You know what I mean? But
that played a major role.
Anything in your family? Like, did you experience different things? And you said you based on race, but based on being from Baltimore, because that's a stereotype right there.
Oh, from Baltimore.
People judge you because you're from Baltimore?
I'm straight up hood. And you know what? I hate when I have friends from the North and they say, I'm going to Baltimore. No, you're going to Maryland to visit me. I don't live in Baltimore.
Right.
Right.
People do say that. Go ahead.
May I?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so I want to go back to something that you just said. So do you think that someone can experience racism but not be aware that they've experienced?
Oh, I'm sure.
You know what I mean?
I'm sure.
Like if you have a whole bunch of white friends, and you go around a whole bunch of white people, and you don't even realize when something's happening because that's just always the way it's been.
Right.
And maybe they got their little jokes and stuff that you're not privy to.
Right.
Because me and my friends can joke about you as you can probably joke with your friends, and I don't even know that y'all making fun of me. You know what I mean? And vice versa. So that's all I just want to say that.
No, but yeah, you're absolutely right. You can experience racism, or you can be judged and not even know it.
Absolutely.
Like somebody can say, "Oh, you speak well, and you pronounce out every syllable." And you thinking, "Yeah, my education is working,"
and you're being judged. Right, exactly.
And you're being judged. But what are some of the judgments you get from Baltimore? Because I'm not from Baltimore, but I stick up for Baltimore and Baltimoreans all the time because people assume if you're in Baltimore, they're judging this book based on where you are from.
Oh, they ask me all the time, where did you grow up? I'm like, kind of like on the city-county line because I speak too well to be brought up in Baltimore.
But
I'm from Baltimore.
Right.
But they don't believe I'm from Baltimore.
Because the stereotype is that Baltimore people can't speak.
Correct.
Baltimore people gonna rob you. There's selling drugs from the corner. Everybody is hood. Nobody has an education. And like I said, I stick up for Baltimoreans all the time because they think that, like, outside of the news, where do you think that came from? Like, seriously, like, other than The Wire, because there were the stereotypes before, but I know The Wire was a big part.
People when they eat their hot dogs.
Let me tell you, you can't hear him, but Diamond said when people were eating their hot dogs. Let me tell you, hot dog. When I first moved here, I'll never forget. Shout out Terry if you ever see a show. I say Terry, and she told me her name is Terry. Okay, but in Jersey we say Terry.
How about this one, Kern?
Yeah, Kern,
and it's supposed to be Karen
or Durrell or Irk.
Oh, what's that four-legged animal?
Or Irk.
No.
Eric.
But
it's Irk.
Right.
I remember at a workshop, my daughter was signing people in. The guy kept saying Dirk. And my daughter was like, I don't see him on here. He was like, Derreck. She said, oh, Derek. He said, yeah, Dirk. So when I first moved here, I was at work, and this was in the mid 90s. I moved to Baltimore area in Maryland in 94. And I worked with a girl named Terry, or she told me, why everybody from Jersey, New York say Terry? It's Terry. All right, Terry, I'm sorry. But she was like, let's go get a hot dog. That was the first time I ever heard that. And I was like, a Doug?
Yeah, they don't say dog. It's a Doug.
So it's like, but people think, yeah, like almost like the name, like the guy's name, like Doug, or like you dug something. So, but then pocketbook, I never heard that a day in my life. But in Baltimore, they say a pocketbook and a beret. Like in Jersey, we called it a beret, like a beret in the hair, but it was like a beret. But this is the thing. But they're not all bows though. They're really like barrettes. But this is the thing. But people think if that's like if somebody is speaking like that they're uneducated. And that's not the case. I know people to talk like that, speak like that. He said they're just ghetto. But people that speak like that, they got master's degrees.
Really?
If you listen to the news, they be like Baltimore, Maryland. Oh,
what did they say?
He says they go to Sojourner Douglas College.
Sojourner Douglas College.
Why?
Really?
Why? But he's saying that they didn't get see, he's judging them now. Look, he's judging them. He's saying they're from the hood. But look, when I started watching the news, now they're educated. Some of them, their degrees go up and up and up. And they were speaking and they were like Baltimore, Maryland. To me, that sounds uneducated.
It does.
But they're educated. See, that's a judgment.
I think it's just a pronunciation thing. That's it. And it doesn't mean that they're educated.
And I say Maryland. Why do you say Maryland?
So they just want to, cut all the extra syllables out and just,
Right.
Baltimore. But you know what? And I judge it, and I'm almost right all the time, even today, listening to D.L. Hughley. I remember one time somebody from Baltimore, we were in a car, we almost got into an argument because it was national radio. And somebody called in, and honey, they were talking, and I was like, that person's from Baltimore. He was like, why are you saying that? They're not, because he's from Baltimore. But people don't think he's from Baltimore because he can speak. Like Baltimore people can't speak. And that's not the case. I dispel that. And Diamond is from Baltimore. He said most of them can't. But you know what's crazy? It's the city that reads. When I first moved to Baltimore, it was like the city that reads.
A long time.
But I was
took that away. No, they took that away.
Oh, the city that reads, so they can read it, but they might pronounce it wrong. Right. But then you can, and that could be a judgment.
That was bought here. That the city that was bought here. I don't think we.
The what?
Came from New York.
Right. They bought it here.
I never knew that's what it's called now, Baltimore. Do people think that?
He was joking.
No, I was wondering if people even say that.
It came from Jersey and New York.
And they said that
all this violence wasn't here originally. It's come here. It migrated here.
But when I first moved to Baltimore, I must say I did judge.
Mm-hmm.
I did judge a book by its cover. And the crazy thing, The Wire wasn't out when I came here. So it wasn't about the crime. It was about what I couldn't understand. What I judged in Baltimore is these women, and you might be part of it, will have beautiful hair, but they will have weaves down here or up their back.
Guilty.
And but they would have hair. That was my judgment when I first moved here. Like, does anybody have their own hair?
Not anymore.
What, she cut the hair?
So girls would.
He said, go ahead. He's going to get the mic.
So crazy.
Okay.
So it was this trend. So even girls with long hair,
mm-hmm.
would cut their hair off to do those short styles like a Toni Braxton type.
Which was like so cute.
Hair, what it's called, bob.
Yeah.
Right? And so they would do that, and then they would put the fake hair.
That's what I didn't.
Like next week.
But that's what I didn't understand. When I first moved here, okay, so this was 94. So you guys are from Baltimore, where everybody used to gel it and it'd be stacked up.
Hard,
like stacked up, like that whole. See, Diamond love the girls like that. So when I moved here, that was my judgment. Like, okay, I'm insecure. My hair ain't stacked up. Now that was when it was permed and I had my hair wrapped. Just a basic wrap. No, but that's how my hair has been my whole life. So when I come here, like, oh, you ain't from here, and I'm like, but why? And then this one girl I used to work with, was my girl. She always had her hair piled up. She took her weave out. Her hair was to her butt. And I was tripping. I was like, well, why
is she wearing?
And they started, they were schooling me at work. Nobody, and I kid you not, I'm not lying. Nobody in my little group, when I used to work at MCI back in the day, shout out to everybody. I know everybody at one point used to work at MCI. I meet people all the time. Back in the day, this was like in the early 90s. I remember I was the only one on my team that had her own hair.
Really?
Yes. And these were people, it wasn't like they didn't have hair. And that's why I was saying with you, you have hair, your hair is beautiful. But Antoinette loves weaves. What did you say? The longer the better. And she was feeling a little insecure today because she don't have her weave in and she looks gorgeous. But that's just when I first came, I was like, I don't understand. And I understand why people shade their eyebrows off too to draw them on too. That's a whole always got me. And that's everybody. I mean, that's everywhere. That's not a Baltimore thing.
Like, I mean, but there's a better way to do it. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's
another show.
So we're always going to have an opinion. We're always going to judge. But we're talking in fun now and we're joking. But when you really start judging people based on what they look like on the outside or what they have or don't have or how they're dressed or, you know, the different hairstyles, complexion, and all that, that's when it becomes an issue. Mm-hmm. And you're messing with someone's, even though they say self-esteem is from self, but other people can still contaminate that view mm-hmm. of who you are based on a judgment. And a judgment can also get you killed.
Yes.
And hurt because someone judged you based on the outside. So like Antoinette said, and I stand by that, you have to get to know someone. You have to get to know who they are before you judge or prejudge. So when somebody is around you and they're being catty and they're saying this about that person or talking about mm-hmm. this person, take the time to just really get to know that person because you might find out they're not who you think they are. And with other races and cultures, that's the only way we're going to be able to come together. Mm-hmm. And truly it's about understanding one another and loving and embracing our differences, not always separating us from the other mm-hmm. person based on this. And Black people, my Black people, I love you. Us up here, we love you. And stop with this color thing, judging someone based on being dark skinned or light skinned or fat or skinny. At the end of the day, we're all Black, and everybody gonna get a little fluffy one day.
That's right.
So, possibly, and it doesn't mean that they're unhealthy.
That's right.
So the moral of this is just to really just take a look at somebody, get to know someone's heart mm-hmm. before you judge the outside.
Absolutely.
Did you have fun today?
I had a blast.
Okay.
I really did. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming.
I love your crew.
Shout out to Lisa and
happy
K.
birthday.
And happy birthday, Lisa. Woo! You 21?
Yeah. You know what? I've never been, I'm 38.
She's 38 and great. It's
That's
time to celebrate her rate. Thank you for joining Conversations with Kendell and Niece. Again, I'm Kendell. This is Antoinette. It's been real. Remember, let me just plug my book. My book is coming out this month, so I will keep you posted, but check my website for updates, livingtruelivingyou.com. It'll be coming out. It's a self-help. It's a guide to living your best life and loving who you are. So that's all I'm about. So thank you for watching. And remember, you're a star, so don't let anyone dim your shine. Until next time, peace.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.